It happened yet again. I got another car. Although this one, it was definitely more of an impulse buy, but I got this thing for just 800 bucks. At that price point, I simply couldn't say no. It's smaller and more fuel efficient than the Accord, that being an R18 instead of a J30. It's going to be much more fuel efficient, so I've decided to make this Project Hermano Dos.0. I'm going to give this to my brother instead of the Accord. I'm still going to fix the Accord up, of course, but I figure I might as well just sell it instead. So, I'm sure you're wondering, this thing looks pretty decent. How did I get it for so cheap? Well, as you can probably tell by the dirt that's covering it, it had been sitting for a decent bit of time. Not, like, at least a couple months, I think, not really being used. The lady who owned it kinda just wanted it gone. It also helps that I knew one of her neighbors, so she was willing to give me a deal on it. It's got a bit of body damage too. I'm not really concerned about that. It's a cheap car, and it's going to be his first one, so it doesn't need to be perfect, especially since he's going to be driving in DC. It also has a rebuilt title. It was in an accident over on this quarter here. No, wait, or was it the other one? No, it was this one. I'm tripping. But it was repaired pretty well. It's pretty much not noticeable unless you go over it with a fine-toothed comb. Needs tires. These are all like 4 or 5. Had one of those sunroof deflectors. I just took that off. I can't stand those things personally. I'm gonna flush the brake fluid. Well, I'm gonna change all the fluids. But yeah, new tires. Took it for a decent drive on the way here this morning. It's got a bit of vibration at speed. Part of it might be the wheel balance, but also I'm gonna turn all the rotors. That should cut down on it. Right. Inside, 181,709 miles. I know a lot of people consider that high, but honestly, that's nothing. These Civics are dead reliable. It's got this older Kenwood radio in it. This thing, I think, is kind of on its last legs. It's not holding up very well. It works, but it kind of cuts out intermittently. I think some of the speakers might be blown too. I don't know if they're original or not. But the main reason why I got it so cheap, that rattling from the engine bay, the bearing in the AC compressor is shot. It's making that god-awful racket, and it's going to need to be replaced. And if I've got to discharge the AC system and do that, I might as well take the whole thing apart and reseal it. I don't personally use air conditioning, but my brother does, and he's going to want it to be cold. Probably going to replace that head unit and the speakers too. Gonna replace a few other components as well. These wiper blades are shot as well. Figure I'm just gonna replace them with OEM Honda ones so that I can use the replaceable inserts. It's a lot cheaper that way long term, even if the blades themselves are like 70 bucks to get them straight up. But again, it's gonna be less hassle long term, which is the whole idea of what I'm doing. It's got some oil leaks. I already bought a PCV valve. That's definitely one of the more underrated parts in my opinion. Gonna be changing the oil, well, the trans fluid, gonna flush the brake fluid, power steering. Gonna flush the coolant too, but I'm gonna buy a thermostat first. With the mileage, I figure it's definitely a prudent measure to keep it in good health. Serpentine belt doesn't have any cracking in it. I did look at this a bit when I bought the car, but One, it was so cheap that I was gonna buy it anyway. I'm not gonna stress losing a good deal like this over a $20, $30 belt. And also, well, I didn't have my flashlight on me, and my one on my phone is kind of weak. It's missing one of the pieces for the airbox here. I can get that at a junkyard. Engine cover's not there. If I care enough, I'll snag one of those while I'm there too. But I'll have to see. It might, just because. I already have 4 new tires on order for it. Yokohama Avid Ascend LXs. Yokohama is one of my personal favorite tire brands. They have a good quality, definitely one of the better name brands, while being a better value than something like a Michelin or a Continental. I have Avid Ascend GTs on my Fit, and I also put a set of Avid Ascend LXs on my mom's CRV, and those have treated her very well. And before that, she had a set of Trinantes. Yeah, I think I'll leave that belt on there for now, but I will definitely change those spark plugs, or at least I'll pop them out and check them. This is the old PCV valve. You can see that was long overdue. It lives down in this hole down here. You can just get that out with a 17mm. Yep, that one down there. I just tweaked this bracket for that harness slightly out of the way to make a bit of room, and you can get at that with a swivel and an extension. I had to tweak the bracket a bit more to slide my hand in enough to get that in there, but it's not too bad. And I can always tweak it back into shape with a pry bar. In this case, the same one that I got it in with. Come on. There. Good as new. If you need some evidence that this car has been sitting for some time, all the shit that's built up in the back rain channel here, that's gonna allow water to pool up in there. That's gonna cause you some problems. I like to clean these out. A bit of it caught in the little gaps of the spoiler here too. I'm gonna have to wash it sometime, and well, probably gonna want to hit it with a pressure washer just to get all the caked on dirt off. Can take it to a self-serve car wash and get all that done. And maybe an automatic one. Those aren't that expensive. I'll probably inflate the spare too. Those don't get checked very often, so by the time you're ready to use them, they go flat. With a donut, it's supposed to be 60 psi. I put it ever so slightly higher just to be sure. 4.5 pounds. Yeah, this is why you want to check. Yeah. Sidewall is much stiffer now. You can see. About 65. That's what I like to put them to. Doesn't have to be exact, but I'm kind of picky when it comes to tire pressure. So picky that I actually wait a minute and set the tire pressure again. When I'm doing an oil change, I'll make 2 circuits around it. I'll do one on each wheel, wait about a minute, and then I'll go back around again while I wait for the oil to drain. You know, in case that tire pressure settles down a bit, or if it's off by more than a certain amount. It helps get it much more accurate that way, and consistent. Oil is coming out, a decent color. It's relatively clear, just a bit brown, like it hasn't been changed in like 3,000 or 4,000 miles. Looks good. Bit of a time crunch, so I didn't show everything, but I changed the oil, the trans fluid, flushed the brake fluid, and flushed the power steering fluid. I'm also going to replace all of these lug nuts, because I've got way more chrome ones than I know what to do with. These look kinda ugly, and I hate wheel locks. Those are going, and never coming back. A small change, but I think it's the little details like that that really set this thing apart. All of these were off of brand new cars that got wheel locks installed. Pretty much all technicians have a ton of these, at least at dealerships. And I'm going to be torquing all of these to spec. Hopefully that'll get rid of some of the vibration. I'll report back after a drive and let you know. I need to go get some gas in this thing anyway. I put the PCV valve in as well. I think I showed that, but I don't remember. The wipers, we didn't have them in stock, so those aren't going to be here for another couple days. If it rains, I'll just take the fit. I'm not sure exactly by how much, but it does sound a bit quieter with the fresh engine oil. Let me see. Yep. 181709. I'll just have them change it at 185, about 3,000 miles. Definitely good for a first oil change. I can keep an eye on it and see, is it burning any? Then again, these R18s aren't really known for burning oil. I really think this head unit should just go. But I'll talk to him about that and see what he wants to do. I got 4 brand new tires for the Civic. These ones are Yokohama Avid Ascend LXs in 205/55/16. Already mounted one, got a bit ahead of myself. I like the Yokohamas because I think I mentioned it before, but good quality and good price. These old Goodyears, I don't think they have any more Goodyears left in them. The rims have a bit of curb rash from the previous owners, but the main thing is that there's a bunch of corrosion on the sides. I can take that off with a wire brush. I've got the battery charging over here. Or well, it's off charging right now, so that it'll be nice and easy. Also replacing all these valve stems with brand new ones. I don't know how old these are, and they're cheap. I have a bunch of spares, so it's a good idea to do them. Of course, I'm going to be doing a full balance on each one. Almost forgot to show it, but this is what it looks like after a couple passes with the wire wheel. Much better. Another quick tip, if you have tires with these little yellow or green and red dots, you always want to try and match the green or yellow dot with the valve stem. That's going to get you your best wheel balance. Sometimes they only have the red dot, and if it only has the red one, then I think it's the same thing. That's what I've always done when balancing tires, and I've never had any issues with it. Another thing I'm going to do while I'm here is take the time to refinish these rotors. There was a bit of waviness to them, and it was causing some vibration under braking. Now, thanks to my job, I have access to one of these fancy on-car lathes. The tires are all mounted and balanced. They all took a fuck ton of weight. I'm guessing these rims were kind of messed up, but they're a pain, but they were salvageable. Also, I just don't really want to buy, I really don't want to buy new rims. Again, they took a lot, but they did balance out. This is going to look and feel so much better. I'm only going to do the fronts for now because the rears look fine. You can sort of see the waviness in them. You really don't want that. It's an interesting piece of kit. You have to adjust it. There, well, that'll sort of do it itself automatically. There's like a swash plate in here. And then you set this up so that it's about even on both sides. And then it will retract on its own. Takes a bit of getting used to, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty sweet. You can see how much smoother the rotor is compared to what it was like before. And with this one, had a bit of technical difficulties there. Turns out the guy who set the machine up over here can be a bit of a bonehead sometimes, but I got it sorted and it's looking pretty good now. I haven't had as much time to work on the Civic, but I finally got around to replacing the compressor. New ones are like 500 bucks, so yeah, screw that. Went to a junkyard and pulled the one that looked the best. That was 80 bucks. And worst case, I'll go back and grab another one. This isn't exactly a fun job. I took the core support out because it gives you way more access than taking out the fan like what the book says. I have access to a lift, so why the hell not? Yeah, I gotta take the alternator out. That's fine, so no need to worry about that. That's all old leaks. I already replaced the PCV valve, so that shouldn't get any worse. Also went ahead and changed the spark plugs, got some NGK laser iridiums, the good stuff. I also went ahead and got this snorkel, or I guess baffle assembly, because before it was just running straight open from here. That's getting in all the hot air, and that's gonna hurt power. See, I got that down there. I didn't film much of it because this is a huge pain in the ass, but also went ahead and replaced the serpentine belt since I had to get it off anyway. The new compressor, I changed the O-rings in both of those too. I think that's just spillage from the old compressor. I already mentioned I changed the plugs. For now, just vacuuming and recharging the system. Yep, mentioned this. After the AC is recharged, I'm going to put it back up in the air so I can put that splash shield in. I don't have the clip, so I'm just going to zip tie it for now. Oh yeah. I gotta screw that back in too. I'll do that at the same time so that I can position them. But, well... there's one thing I can do in the meantime while I wait. It's... get this ready. I'm not going to be able to film this. Yeah, all it is just getting the little screw that goes back here, but it's nice and rigid now. Yeah, I had to take the battery out so that I could do this. Plus, since I had to take the alternator off, I had to disconnect the negative anyway. You can already hear a massive change for the better. There's no more bearing whine. And the AC is blowing cold. You know what? Me saying that isn't really going to do it justice, so I'm going to show you. Let's put that in freedom units. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not going to be using it, but my brother, I know he'll appreciate cold air. Right back where it all began. As you can see, it's running way quieter now. None of that god-awful bearing noise anymore. It would do it irrespective of whether or not the AC was running. But yeah, now that's just normal injector ticking. Just gave it a quick and dirty car wash. Well, there's still a bit of residue here, but I'm not a detailer. Nobody's paying me to do this shit, so it is what it is. It's better than it was. That's what matters. That radio still needs to be replaced because it cuts out on you intermittently. But Well, I'll let my brother worry about that. I think he said he was going to order a new head unit and new speakers anyway. Which is good, because the ones that are in there now sound like they're on the way out. But yeah. She's looking good, running good. This is all just all good. Oh yeah, I also took that big mirror thing off so that now I can actually use this. Might replace these visors at some point. I'll see how much they cost. But other than that, might also suggest you replace these floor mats with like some of those form-fitting WeatherTech ones. Especially since he's going to be doing, I think, mail delivery or something. If he's getting in and out constantly, especially in bad weather, it'll definitely be a lot better for him that way. But in due time, I'm also going to clean this thing out a bit later on. Extract the seats, the carpets, go in here with some of those wipes and get it nice and clean. But overall, yeah, it's pretty solid.